Hey guys, welcome to the series of learning Verilog A, the analog hardware description language. Watch this series to get the full knowledge on Verilog A. Welcome back guys. In this episode, we'll be discussing above event, last crossing and event ORing, dealing with the discontinuity, structural modeling using Verilog A, preprocessor directives, and we'll look into the point where Verilog meets Verilog A. So let's begin. Let's talk about the above event. The above function generate an event at the time when a specified expression becomes greater than or equal to 0. So this is the syntax of the above event. The first argument is expr, then the time tolerance, then the expression tolerance. So expr or the expression is a real expression whose value is to be compared to 0. Time tolerance is the value of the tolerance value of the time interval, and expression tolerance is the tolerance value of the mentioned expression. Okay, so let's see an example to understand how this above event is or can be used. So we include our discipline.vamps. Define, we use a preprocessor directive define and define high as 1, define low as 0, and we start our module, a test module. We write electrical in and out, then we define parameter real of real type, VTH high as 3, VTH low as 1, and then we define another real variable as out value. Then we start our analog block with analog begin. Here we write the above statement, and inside the above statement is V in minus VTH high. So this value has to be compared with 0, and whenever this crosses, this condition will be evaluated, and once this is true, we get we assign out value with backtick high. And similarly we define the next above statement here with the inside expression is VTH low minus V in. Okay, so once this is true, we set our out value as backtick low, and outside all this above statement, we assign finally the out value, which is a real variable, to V out. So, and we close our analog block here, and then we close the end module. So in this example, we exemplify how we use the above statement. Okay, so let's move on to last crossing. Okay, we have earlier used the cross. Okay, this is whenever multiple crosses are there, this will detect the last one. Okay, so the last crossing function finds the time when the signal last cross 0. The expression is last crossing, then expression, then direction. Okay, the first argument is a signal expression. The direction is a flag with 3 values. Possible values is -1, 0 and +1. If the direction is 0 or not specified, the last crossing will be detected on both rising and falling crossings. If the direction is +1, the last crossing will be from the last rising edge. If the direction is -1, the last crossing will be from the last falling edge. If the expression has not crossed 0, the function will return a negative value instead of a time value. So if in the execution of our Verilog A code we see it has returned a negative value, that means the expression has never crossed a 0. Okay, so there is neither a rising nor a fall crossing at all has happened. Okay, so in that case we have to check our waveform on which I am on which we are operating this last crossing. So let's see an example of this last crossing. We define a module, we declare the all inputs and then the integer. Okay, input is integer, input is in, and it is of voltage type. Then integer we define crossing, real as latest and previous. Okay, we start our analog block, we write the initial. So in last episode we seen the definition of the initial step. Here we are using it, and we define in the we initialize the value of crossing and previous with 0. Here we close it, close the initial step block, then we write the cross, and then we write the expression v in, and we give a direction +1. Okay, and here we assign if it is a +1. Okay, then we write crossing equal to crossing +1 and previous equal to latest. So these are the two assignments we do here, and then we close that cross with the we close that block with end. Then we write that latest is equal to the last crossing, the function that we already just now discussed, and v in is the first expression, and then the +1. Okay, then at the final step what we do, if crossing is less than 2, we could not measure the period. Okay, so here let's see the next print statement. Here here comes the else condition. Else the period and the crossing will be printed here. Okay, so once this crossing has happened more than once, then we will be able to measure the period, and in that case this period and crossings will be printed. Okay, and we close the final step block with end, and we close our analog block with end, and then we close the module here. So this, guys, this is the example of the last crossing. So this is specific for to get the last crossing, and it can be used with the cross statement. Okay, so let's move on to event ORing. Okay, we can do ORing events. We have already discussed in our previous episodes. So here we'll see how we can OR two events. So we'll do this with an example. We write the analog begin here, then we write @ then initial step or cross, then within the cross we have the expression v sample minus 2.5 and the direction is +1. So here we write the contribution statement, v out, the 0 is contributed to v out, and then we close our analog block. So guys, here we can see that we can use the two events with a OR statement. Okay, so this is the initial step or at the cross, whenever it is there, so 0 will be contributed to the v out. So let's talk about discontinuity. So discontinuity and the expression will be constant expression. Now what is a discontinuity? Just before going any further, so discontinuity is a nature of the circuit. In that circuit, since the analog is a continuous in nature, right? So with time, when we vary any signal in analog, that signal will be continuous. Okay, so for each time step we will be having a corresponding value, but in some of the cases it could be that the equation or the circuit may be discontinuous at some of these time points. So keeping that thing in mind, we have this discontinuity expression. So let's see about discontinuity. This function is created to deal with any possible discontinuity in analog behavior of the circuit. That is what I just explained, that any circuit can have a discontinuity based on its equation, the mathematical equation. So discontinuity is only executed whenever the analog behavior changes discontinuously. So already mentioned, so there are continuous changes at some time point, there is a discontinuity, and then there is another time point when after that the signal is becoming continuous again. So to deal with this situation, the discontinuity is used to give enables to the simulator the handle of the convergence algorithm to get accurate result in exceptional situations. So we know that any simulator use numerical methods inside it to deal with the convergence, and if there is a discontinuity, it might cause a issue of the convergence, and this discontinuity function will help or to instruct the simulator to make the convergence better. So if we, because it's an analog design, and we know how and when the design will behave, and we will already know at some point that okay, at t equal to t dash our circuit will be discontinuous. So we define this discontinuity well ahead so that the simulator do not struggle to converge. So discontinuity is 0 if it is 0 in the argument, right? It indicates discontinuity in the equation. Discontinuity with value 1 indicates the discontinuity in its slope, etc. Discontinuity minus 1 is used with the limit function. So minus 1 is also a valid argument of discontinuity. The limit is the limiting value function. So guys, we have just came across or have the concept of discontinuity in analog, and how we can deal, and we have just theoretically explained here. So let's see an example. We write here the module name, and we define all those inputs. So inout is C1 C2, input is PIN NIN, okay, and we define 4 ports as electrical in nature. We define a real parameter with 1 value, and we start our analog block, and we write here cross with the cross event, we write here the discontinuity 0, and then we put the conditional block here, okay, and we close our analog block. So this way we can introduce a discontinuity, okay, with the event itself, okay. Let's close the module here, and this is the example. So this is this discontinuity is not that mandatory we have to define, but in certain cases we know in analog modeling, right, this circuit is discontinuous, we certainly know. In that case we will have to define. So let's see another example of the discontinuity. Here we define the module and define the output here, okay, and it is a voltage type. Then we define the parameter of real type, okay, period and amplitude, and then we define the integer slope, real offset. Then we start our analog block. Then we write timer event with the argument 0 and period, and start the timer block, and then we write the statement slope equal to +1. Then we set as offset is equal to real time. So real time is a system defined function, and in previous episode we have discussed about it. And then we write the discontinuity 1, okay. So this discontinuity 1 we just talked about 2 slides back, okay. So we close the timer block here. Then we write another timer block, okay, with the initial value of period by 2, and the period will be period. Okay, so it is different from the first one. In first one, that initial point was 0. Okay, so then slope equal to -1, offset equal to real time, and we again say discontinuity 1. So we close this timer block, and then once these two events are done, okay, the timer blocks are done. Outside that, we write our contribution statement. Okay, we close the analog block here and close the entire module here. So these are the two different way of using a discontinuity. Definitely this the example, obviously these are not exhaustive, but obviously when we are dealing with analog design, we will keep in mind that discontinuity is a factor that we have to be very cautious, otherwise the simulator will struggle and may diverge. Okay, so let's see the next chapter, structural modeling. Okay guys, so this is the very important chapter, because so far we have discussed about different features of Verilog A, and we have seen several examples, but at the end, when we have to design an analog circuit, right, we have to define different blocks and we have to interconnect them. That is called structural modeling. Okay, so let's see, in Verilog this structural modeling is already there, and in Verilog A, let's see how we do it, and we will do it by an example. So here is our circuit. Here, this circuit, we can see there are two sub blocks, VD1 and VD2. I'll come to later, but the input and the output, what we'll do, that input QIN will whatever voltage we give, and Q out will give the 4 times of this voltage. Now we come down to VD1 and VD2. These are two voltage doublers. Okay, so this is these two are connected in series. The first one doubles the voltage, and that double voltage is again doubled to get a 4 times of the input voltage at Q out. Okay, so let's see. We define a module voltage quad, and we define the input and output, and they are define their nature as electrical. Then we write also the wire AA1, that is used for interconnection, and we use the voltage doubler unit here, and its instance is VD1, and we know its two input Q in, and the output will be AA1, and this AA1 goes to the next voltage doubler unit VD2, which is the instance of the voltage doubler module, and then we the output, the final output is Q out, and we close the module here. So now just look into this is the I am in this design, I am going from the top to down approach. Okay, but now we can define this voltage doubler in Verilog A. So we write the module voltage doubler, we define in and out, nature is electrical, and we write the analog begin block here, and we write here V out is 2.0 into V in. This is the contribution statement. Okay, so this is a signal flow modeling. By looking at this, you can guess that this is a signal flow modeling. Okay, this particular voltage doubler unit I am saying, and this expression we make a voltage gain circuit. Okay, and we close the analog block. So here we can see the V in, whatever it is getting doubled at V out. So and we close the end module. So this entire example gives you a very simple structural modeling using Verilog A. So whenever we are doing any modeling in a structural way in analog circuit, definitely will have different blocks. In analog circuit we have different blocks, and those blocks each we can define in Verilog A, and then we use interconnection of wire to wire them or interconnect them. So this way we can create a use structural modeling to create a bigger circuit. Okay, so guys, okay, here we come to this end of the structural modeling. So let's go to the next section, which is preprocessor directives. So this preprocessed directives, we know it's like we generally learn C as a first programming language in colleges usually, and we are very much familiar with this preprocessed directive, because at the first line we have to write this preprocessed directive. So similarly in Verilog A we have couple of preprocessed directives. Some of them we use very often and some of them are in situation. So let's see what are there. Here there are we will talk about define, undef, if def, else and include. So let's first talk about include and defining macros. So include we can use to include a file name. This is the first thing we write in any Verilog A code, is the discipline.vamps. I have discussed in the first episode about this discipline.vamps, and also we include the constants here. So these two include statement becomes very much important in any Verilog A code. So the next is we define it is a macro, okay, the define pi with 3.14. so we know that whenever in the circuit description the pi is used, it will be replaced by 3.14. so this is very much C like thing, so we can easily relate. So then we write okay, this is the example. So what happens that this contribution statement in the right hand side we have pi, okay, sorry for the discolor thing, and here whenever this equation is executed or elaborated, right, before execution obviously we will do the compilation and elaboration, and in that stage this pi will be replaced by 3.14 in the actual equation. So define another way of define an inline function like this. Define the sum a b which will result with a plus b, okay, and here this goes v out is a contribution of backtick sum v in 1 and v in 2. so this will add the two voltages and it will be contributed to the v out. So this is a typical and a Verilog A example of a inline function, sorry, macro. It is not a function, it's a macro, so inline macro. So this will be used or it will be replaced during the compile and elaboration time. So conditional macro, okay, so let's see some examples. So it's a if def, we define the macro name, and then the first if conditions the statements are there, then we end it with end if. So this is a simple if condition in the preprocessor directive, okay, and let's see now the if else combination. So if def the macro name, then the statements, then the else comes and the else statements comes, and we close it with a end if equation. So these a conditional macro, okay. In some cases with maybe system variables or something, we have to initiate something, we in our analog module we can use these things, okay. So if the system variable is something, then we do something, and if it is system variable value is something else, we do something. For that we can use this if def, else and end if structure. So let's go to the next section, which is boundary, okay. Boundary of what? So Verilog and Verilog A. So far in our last episode we have discussed the comparison of Verilog and Verilog A. Here we will be talking about the junction of Verilog and Verilog A. So let's see at junctions what things are there. The connect modules. So the connect modules actually connects a Verilog A block with a Verilog block, okay, or vice versa. A connect module automatically or manually inserted to connect the continuous, that is analog, and discrete disciplines, that is digital or mixed nets, okay. A connect module contains the code required to translate and propagate signals between the analog and digital components. So the disciplines of mixed nets are determined prior to the connect module insertion in phase of elaboration. So let's see some of them. So here we will be discussing about a D2A, so that is digital to analog. So here the connect module and how we write the code. So we write here how these are defined. So I am not saying how we write in our code, but how a connect module D2A is defined. So it has in and out. In is a input, out is a output, and input is a logic in nature and output is a electrical in nature. So guys, look that the input is logic, so it is digital, and output is electrical because electrical is an analog nature. So connect module, okay, it is defined it is defined in such a way that input is digital and the output is analog, and we end the module with end module. So this is a basic inside look of the D2A connect module. So by looking into this code, we understand that if this module, this connect module is inserted between a digit signal which is going from a digital to the analog, we will definitely able to carry the signal in a proper way. So it is crossing the boundary of a digital and analog. Okay, so it is from digital side, it's crossing the boundary and entering into the analog side. So let's look at the A to D. So here is the connect module. We write A to D, out and in. Okay, so out will be output, in is the input, and output is logical and input is electrical. So and then we end module here. So by looking into the inside structure of a to D connect module, we understand that whenever a signal is traversing from analog side to the digital side, obviously this connect module will help to balance the two things. So the input will be electrical, which is analog, and the output will be a logic. So let's talk about the bidirectional, that is BDIR. So this connect module, so let's see how what the structure is. So we have out and in. So we have in out, both for input and output, so it can be bidirectional. Okay, so the logic is out, okay, and electrical is in, and we module will end the module with end module. So here in this case the signal can go from any direction to the other, provided we are connecting the in a such a way that we are connecting the input port in an analog side and we are connecting the output port in a digital side, but the signal can travel from either side to another side. Okay, so this is a connect module which can be inserted, or is it is automatically inserted. It depend upon simulator to simulator for a mixed signal structure. So guys, so far we have seen the connect rules, connect modules, and let's talk about the connect rules. And connect rules are what? So connect rules and the discipline of the mixed signal, that is analog and digital, can be used to control the auto insertion throughout the hierarchy. Okay, so these are the rules. Okay, so let's see just an example, because what I am saying that this is the boundary of digital and analog. If the discussion is further, will enter entirely from Verilog A to the Verilog AMS, where the mixed analysis or mixed mode simulation of Verilog and Verilog A can be done. So this is where we'll pause and we'll look into we are at the boundary, so we'll not cross the boundary. So within the boundary we'll just have a glimpse that what are the connect rules. So connect rule is the example, and first connect rule is D2A, and we define all of its input and output structure. Okay, then the second one is A to D, and we define similarly, and BIDIR we also define it, and then we end the connect rule. So this way these are connect rules are done for a mixed mode simulation, but we'll be stopping here because this tutorial is for only Verilog A, and we'll be not discussing anything on Verilog AMS here. So because this series is intended to for the Verilog A. So guys, we have reached to the end here, and after any discussion after this point we'll go to the Verilog AMS. So thank you for listening carefully and hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for regular updates.